It's the 1930s, you're incredibly rich, and you've come to Scarborough for Britain's biggest fish. Where would you stay? The Grand Hotel. The record tunny, or bluefin tuna, was £851. Errol Flynn, David Niven, Lord Rothschild, they were here to join the Tunny Club. They were the sportsmen. Let's go and meet the fishermen. Bill Pashby, pictured here, fourth from the left, was boat boy for a millionaire industrialist called Ickey Weatherly, pictured on the far left. Now in his 80s, in the pub with Scarborough skipper and author Fred Normandale, Bill recalls the day this photo was taken, the single most successful day's tunny fishing ever recorded, when 4 fish were caught to 1 rod, weighing £545, £589, £714 and £743.
He caught 4 fish before breakfast, and this particular time I was aboard the big boat, and after the 4th fish I helped him out. You could see he was tired, and I said, "Mr. Weatherly, the fish are still around us." He looked up at me, he says, "Impetuous youth." Because our job when they were in the boat was to keep throwing herrings overboard to keep them round us. But he did catch 4 before breakfast.
Did you used to buy your herrings from the drifters?
Yes, we give him a crate of beer.
That's the way to do it. You've got your lord on the boat. It had to be a little boat, didn't it? That was the rules.
That was the rules.
Rowing boat.
Of the Tunny Club. Why was that?
That was the Tunny Club rules. You had to be caught in a small open boat, small
Because it was
boat.
more sporting.
Mm.
Yes, sports.
That was their thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they've got their herring with the hook thread over the side. A tunny takes it. What do they do next?
Well, let so much line out, and then he's back. And then the guy on the oars is pulling like to put more weight on the fish.
That's you.
Yes, that was my job on the oars. And
you were 12 years old.
No, I was 15 then. Left school.
15 years old with a possible £800 fish pulling against you.
Yeah, that's what you had to do. Keep pulling. Till eventually, when it's going that fast, you have to lift the oars in, and you were really going.
And when you say that fast, I mean 3 knots. That sort of.
Yeah, you'd be doing about 4 or 5.
And then took it sleigh ride.
Yeah.
Ickey Price was another boat boy for a rival boat.
You'd see the tunny fish come to the surface. You could see them. I mean, there was some. I'm not talking. You didn't just see 3 or 4 fish. You maybe see 20 or 30 fish milling about.
And what were they? And they were after the herring that you were.
After the herring, yeah.
What sort of size were these fish?
What, the tunny fish?
Yeah.
Well, they're all the weights are on them there. 500 pounders, 600 pounders. We'd have him sat aft in the boat with his rod ready, and we'd have some herrings there. And when we saw the tunnies come to the surface, the hook would be baited and it would be paid away. And then one of the tunnies would, we're open, one would come up and take the hook. And then it would tow us till it died, till we killed it. You made them drown themselves. You see, then it came to the surface and laid on the surface.
Tunny Club's centre of operations was off the Yorkshire fishing ports of Whitby, Scarborough and Bridlington. Stalker and big game hunter Peter Carr is well known to us as editor of Sporting Rifle magazine. He was brought up in Bridlington at the heart of the fishing industry. He takes us to Flamborough Head. From 8 to 10 miles off to 50 miles was where the tunny was, depending on where the herring shoals were at the time. The herring drifters, the skippers would come down from Scotland and follow the herring shoals down, and they would report when the tunny were around the boat, they were actually picking up the fallen herrings that were dropping out of the drift nets. And then the sportsmen would come out from Scarborough and from Whitby, towing the rowing boats behind, and the gentry then, and later on, some famous film stars came in pursuit of the tunny. The Tunny Club headquarters is now a fish and chip shop and a shrine for a tunny tourist such as me. I chat to the owner and a regular about the draw of this extraordinary fish.
This is well, if you were playing golf, this would be a 19th hole. Yeah. This is where they come in, settle down, talk about how they caught,
the one that got away.
One that got away. you know. There was John Wayne, Errol Flynn, David Niven, Charles Lawton and his brother Thomas, because Thomas used to go out with Charles, he'd go in one boat, he'd go in another. Baron Rothschild, and then you had money people of England that used to come up and have a go. They were going to take the fireplace out, and we asked for it to be left in because it gives your place character. You'd have lost your Tunny Club if you'd have taken the fireplace out.
So this is the fireplace that the Tunny Club has?
Yes.
Pete and his pal Ben Wolford take me out of Scarborough in a modern commercial fishing boat to try out the old-fashioned tackle. In the days of the Tunny Club, this would have been done at night with a skiff launched from the mothership, rowed by boys such as Bill and Ickey. Ben shows me how to set up the old rod, reel, line and bait, just as Bill and Ickey would have done for the great sportsmen and women of that golden age of fishing. Straight through the eye, through the stomach.
They're sometimes just a bit soft though, aren't the herrings? So.
Yeah.
That's it.
Will do. There goes the reel.
Good old Scarborough reel.
So what's so special about a Scarborough reel?
Well, not really, it's just what they had back then. Like nowadays, they have the multipliers, I don't know if you've seen them. Yeah. All cogs and all reductions on them. And they're just a simple way out.
That is an enormous reel, isn't it?
This, yeah. I mean, you get bigger ones than that. You get some real big ones. As the boat drifts, you just let line away, steady away. I ain't seen Tunny, no, but it's got to be some, aren't they? I don't know.
Of course we don't get a tunny, and to add to the insult, the seagulls take our bait. Well, we're here at the Scarborough Museum Trust at Wood End, and my lovely assistant here is going to tell us from the basement of the museum exactly what he's holding. Peter, you took us out yesterday in the boat. What have you got in your hand here?
Well, this is actually an original Tunny rod, boat rod, with the roller at the end, the Scarborough reel, with spun hemp twine, all original, and the original harness, which was actually worn by Mitchell Henry, who's in the Tunny record book.
It looks like it weighs an absolute ton. Is that to hold it all together?
Yeah, you would actually be sat on the thoft, which is the nautical term for a flat seat on a skiff or a rowing boat, and there would be a hole for putting in the butt of the rod, and the harness would just take the weight off the fish, as the actual tunny would be towing the skiff or the rowing boat.
Towing the skiff?
Yeah, it would, yeah.
For half an hour at a time we learned, didn't we?
Yeah, half an hour up to an hour, yeah.
Now, we can't ignore the fact that in the background there is a very large fish. Is this the sort of thing they were after?
That's exactly what they were after, and this one was 852 pounds. There's a £1 in it, but it's the recognised record, I believe, is 851 pounds.
Put that many powerful men and women in a room no bigger than a fish and chip shop, and you're going to get arguments. In 1949, John Headley Lewis caught the £852 fish, whose cast is in the Scarborough Museum. Lorenzo Mitchell Henry, whose £851-pounder from 1933 was the record holder, successfully contested Headley Lewis's claim with Tunny Club officials. He maintained that the rope Headley Lewis used to string up his fish was wet, so adding more than a pound to its weight. Others have since pointed out that Mitchell Henry's rope was thicker, so surely that should have made a difference. And we've got a lovely rod box here, and who was that? R.T. Lawton, who's that?
That's a local hotelier, which is Charles Lawton's brother, the actor, famous actor from Scarborough.
And R.T. had hotels around here, and his brother was off swanning around Hollywood and bringing in good customers, I guess.
That's right.
Good.
2 bites at the apple.
And I've got an extremely nasty-looking instrument here. What would I be using this for?
That's actually the boat gaff. So when the tunny was brought alongside dead, they would gaff through here.
Through where?
Actually on the tunny, under here.
Under there?
Yeah. And this would actually come up inside of the actual fish's mouth.
Yeah.
and that gives you a good purchase to keep it alongside while you can get the strop around the tail, pull the strop tight.
That's a piece of leather around here.
That's right, and block and tackle.
And you
Swing it
pull the whole thing out.
That's right, yeah.
Is it still wriggling at this stage?
No, it's dead.
You've killed it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's dead, definitely dead.
And you've got it on board, and you've got an awful lot of fish by the look of it.
There's a lot of tins of tuna there.
Will the glory days of the Tunny Club ever come back?
So
No, because I don't think part of it is
your health
Well,
and
the
safety would come into
health
it,
and
I'm
safety
sure.
will come into it.
They would certainly wouldn't allow a little rowing boat, I don't think, out there.
I think health and safety would come into it. But there again, I don't think
cost.
there's the characters like there was in them days.
Do you think those days will ever come back?
No,
Why not?
wiped out.
Never.
Like the dinosaur, gone.
The Tunny Club began in the 1930s. By the 1950s, it was all over.